All right, finally, welcome everyone. And thank you for joining us today to dedicate King County's new state-of-the-art catamaran. It's wonderful to see so many of you here to celebrate her arrival. My name is Harold Taniguchi, and I'm the director of the King County Department of Transportation. And on behalf of King County, I especially want to thank our regular Vashon riders for all your ongoing support of King County Water Taxi service. Give yourselves a round of applause for that. Now, since 2010, our current vessel, the Melissa Ann, has made more than 3,000 trips across Puget Sound, getting island commuters to and from the mainland. But our leased vessel is 27 years old and in need of replacement. That's why 5 years ago, the county set out to craft a funding package to bring 2 new boats to our fleet. From the very start, you have been very great boosters and outstanding users of this service, and we're pleased we'll be able to deliver even better service with the arrival of this vessel. We are joined today by many partners who helped us bring this boat to King County. I'd like to give a special shout out to a few of us who are in the audience right now. Former County Executive Ron Sims is in the audience somewhere. From Senator Murray's office, Samara Ressler is here. And I understand we have Caleb Johns, the unofficial mayor of Vashon here. And also, hello.
Mike's gone out.
That was too much applauding, I think. And also Jim Marsh with the Chamber of Commerce. Let's give them all a round of applause here. Now, it is my pleasure to introduce King County Executive Dow Constantine.
Well, thank you, Harold, and I am tremendously excited to be here today to celebrate the arrival of our first brand new water taxi. You remember, those of you who have ever been able to do this, the first time you bought a car that was actually new? Here it is. I don't need to tell you how popular water taxis have become. Many islanders use our service every day to get to and from work. And yes, there are times when the MV Melissa Ann is filled to capacity and a few of you end up waiting right here at the dock. Well, more than a decade ago, I have to say not everyone was convinced that water taxis shuttling passengers across the Sound and across Elliott Bay to downtown Seattle was a worthy investment. But some were. I've been working on this project for over 2 decades now, since I was a young staffer for then County Council member Greg Nichols. And I can see people around here who've been with us that whole way. Today we're celebrating the arrival of an even bigger boat, a boat that's going to meet more of the growing demand for water travel. The MV Sally Fox honors a wonderful person, a wonderful woman who is a friend and supporter and an advocate for so many important issues on this island, including passenger ferry service, and who passed away in 2007. And I'm delighted to be joined by members of Sally's family today. This new vessel will be nearly 50% larger than the old boats we've been using. It will, being new as well, be more reliable, less prone to mechanical breakdowns. But our King County water taxis have not only proven their value in moving people, they've also shown they can be an invaluable asset in supporting the transportation needs of the nation's fastest growing city. Today, fewer than 1 out of 3 downtown Seattle commuters drive alone to work. Fewer than 1 in 3. They need to have, and they do have in this vessel, dependable alternatives. For the good people of Vashon, it means a 20-minute water taxi ride across Puget Sound with no congestion to contend with, rather than a Fauntleroy traffic jam and a West Seattle Bridge tie-up and exorbitant parking prices downtown once you arrive. And once downtown, you have more choices. The bus system, light rail, bikes, and of course, walking. This service offers a real alternative to get you where you need to be reliably and on time. Now, last year, our water taxis delivered, listen to this figure, 445,000 trips, and with each passing year, that number grows. Without this service, those would convert into nearly 500,000 automobile trips, adding not just congestion, but greenhouse gas emissions. So we can all appreciate the role that the water taxis are playing, getting commuters to their jobs in downtown Seattle. There's much more to talk about, and many of our speakers will talk on speak to other important points, but I just want to make a point of thanking our congressional delegation. Senator Murray, our members of Congress, came through for us really with flying colors. Former Congressman Norm Dix was also a great champion of foot ferries. 80% of the funding for our 2 new boats comes from federal grants. And I'd like to thank our representatives for their hard work. And I want to thank the Federal Transit Administration as well for securing the nearly $11 million in grants that have made this vessel program possible. There are just a couple other people, in case they don't get mentioned later, whom I want to draw your attention to. One, I already mentioned Greg Nichols. He was really the father of the foot ferry system, the modern foot ferry system here in King County, former mayor of Seattle. Also, she's not able to be here today, I don't think, but now State Senate Minority Leader and then my Chief of Staff in the County Council, Sharon Nelson. This would not have happened without Sharon's hard work. And he will speak a little bit later, but I am now, as county executive, proud to be sort of the head of the water taxi system because we have merged the water taxis into the general government. But your county council member, Joe McDermott, from the day he took office, and in fact, throughout the time he was in the legislature, has been carrying this program, and we all owe him a great debt of gratitude. So please join me in welcoming from the Federal Transit Administration Region 10 Administrator, Rick Crochalis.
Thank you. What a great day out here. And you know, I had this long speech prepared, but as you can tell, I have a cold, so I'm going to cut right to the chase. First of all, as far as federalism, it needs to work for the public. And my bosses, Secretary Anthony Fox, basically said, make sure whatever investment you make in the Region 10 that I have works for the local public. And this is such a great example that, first of all, it replaces a 27-year-old vessel. It's the first time we have bought a new vessel for King County. We've done a lot of vessel restoration for Washington State ferries and the Alaska Marine Highway, but first time for King County. And King County has done a really good job of taking seriously operating the passenger-only ferries. It's a big job. I want to really applaud them for that. And just finally, we're proud to be an investor in this vessel. It's really going to make a difference in the runs, the size, the comfort level. So I just want to congratulate everyone on this successful project. Thanks very much.
Thank you very much, Rick. And now I'd like to introduce another of our elected officials who served as chair of the King County Ferry District, which until recently provided oversight of King County's water taxi program. And as his District 8 constituents well know, Councilmember Joel McDermott has also played a key role in ensuring the success of this service. So please join me in welcoming Councilmember McDermott.
Thank you. I am Joe McDermott. I am your King County Council member. It's my pleasure to be able to serve in that role. And as Dow and Harold have mentioned, having previously served as the chair of the King County Ferry District, they've mentioned that we've rolled the Ferry District into King County at the beginning of the year, combining that independent government. And doing that allows us to reinvest over $400,000 a year into providing direct service. real efficiency in our government. This day highlights not just a new boat, but really tireless actions of many people to bring this over the last decade to support water taxi service, waterborne transit. I've worked hard to maintain and enhance this work, and in fact worked hard in hand with then Councilmember Constantine to transition the water taxi service, the passenger only service, from a state service to the county to make sure that it was stable and was lasting, that we did not lose that vital transit service. Since then, we know that demand has only grown. How many of you have been left behind when the boat has been full? Indeed. And how many times have we canceled runs because our aging leased boats have broken down or had mechanical issues? Well, this is a new day for King County Water Taxi Service. Our new boats have more room and will be far more reliable in delivering that waterborne transit, that trip to downtown and back. This launch is the culmination of work by many to fund and secure the new boats and to enhance the customer service on our water taxis. My appreciation goes especially to Rick with the FTA and particularly to Paul Broder, the director of the King County Marine Division, for his work in overseeing the building of the boats and the delivery today. Last year, I led the Ferry District in developing a strategic plan that not only underlies the current need and value and importance of water taxi service from West Seattle to downtown and from Vashon to downtown, but also sets out exploration of additional routes on Puget Sound and Lake Washington as well, actually seeking not only to barely maintain, but to explore growing our water taxi service. It is a bright day. It is a bright day in King County. And the community could not have chosen a better name for this boat, the Sally Fox. It honors the memory of an amazing lady that I was acquainted with in my work in the legislature, who was a passionate advocate for maintaining passenger-only ferry service and many other causes. One in particular that's close to me is she implemented the equality for domestic partners of City of Seattle employees. A great legacy in water taxi and so much more work Sally did in our community. It's great to know that the Sally Fox will be plying the waters between Vashon and downtown, carrying us all and the work we continue to do. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Councilmember McDermott. You know, shortly you'll be able to take her out for a test run, this beautiful vessel. But before you do, we thought we'd share a little bit about what's under the hood. In this case, what's special about this beautiful vessel. And other than the builder, and I will talk about a little bit more, All-American Marine in Bellingham, the person who knows her best is our own Marine Division Director, Paul Broder. He was there when the construction began a year ago, and he's kept a close watch over this baby ever since. So I'd like to thank All-American Marine, Paul and his staff, for delivering this to us today. Let's give the staff a nice round of applause for getting us here and taking all this over there. And you know, before Paul got here, Scott Davis was leading the Marine Division. I know Scott is around here somewhere. Let's give him a round of applause there, too. Thank you. But let me turn it over to the happiest man on this dock, I think, Paul Broder.
Thank you so much, Harold. What a great day and what a terrific community event this is. Thank you all for coming out to help celebrate the dedication of the motor vessel Sally Fox. This event marks the culmination of 5 years of hard work by a lot of folks. To give you an idea, some of the milestones in this process, there was community input using focus groups to determine what customer preferences were for the new vessels. We used an expert review panel to assist the county on the type, size, and capacity of the vessel and the amenities that the vessel should have. We contracted with technical consultant team to assist with the specification development and with construction management. We used the marine contract specialist to help the county procurement folks put together a request for proposals and contract documents. All this work led to the selection of a design and build firm capable of building this beautiful vessel. I have a number of thank yous today, folks I'd like to acknowledge. First and foremost, Executive Dow Constantine, for his vision, his continuing support for this important transportation alternative. Your council member, Joe McDermott, for his leadership as former chair of the Ferry District Executive Committee, and other council members that have helped guide the Ferry District in its early beginnings, council members Lambert, Gossett, Dembowski, our federal partners led by Senator Patty Murray, our federal transit administration funding partners represented by Rick Kachalis from FTA Region 10, my bosses, Harold Taniguchi and Lori Brown, yay! For their ongoing support and guidance.
Sorry about that.
That was for you, Lori.
Our labor partners that represent both our shoreside and our vessel employees, the master mates and pilots, the Marine Engineers Beneficial Association, and the Inland Boatmen's Union. As mentioned, my predecessor, Scott Davis, here today for putting the Marine Division on the correct course. Our technical consultants from Hornblower Marine Services, John Sainsbury, Carl Schwab, and Dan Frank. My owner's representative on this project, Ron Panzero, and my construction manager, Dave Watson. And vessel designers from Technocraft and the vessel builders from All American Marine, here today, represented by owner Matt Mullett, Joe Hudspeth, and Jeff Sokolek. And to all the crafts, men and women, that put this fine vessel together. We have representatives from Cummins Marine here today who were suppliers of the marine propulsion package. And of course, the good folks at Four Seasons Marine who have leased the county 2 vessels since startup, the Rachel Marie, who is in the audience today, and the Melissa Ann, also named for her sister. Without those vessels, we could not have gotten this service off the ground. Tom Tugas and Lauren Gearhart are here representing Four Seasons Marine today. And a very special shout out to my Marine Division vessel crews and maintenance staff for the operations, customer service, and maintenance that's performed on our vessels day in and day out. Tremendous job, guys. Thank you. Also like to give a shout out to my administrative staff, many of whom are here today volunteering for this great event. And most importantly, our faithful Vashon customers. We appreciate your business and look forward to serving you in the future here. So let me tell you just a little bit about this boat before you have a chance to experience it for yourself. On the new boat, you're going to find seating for 250 passengers. That's 78 more than what the Melissa Ann holds. We don't want to leave anyone on the dock. You'll find 28 outdoor seats on the upper aft deck, along with plenty of rail space to get up close to those great scenic views that we have here in Puget Sound. As you board the boat, you'll notice a nice, light, airy passenger cabin, very roomy, wide aisles. Easy to board, easy to get off. We have 2 boarding areas, one midships and one on the stern. You'll find 3 interior bathrooms, one of which is ADA accessible. We have ADA wheelchair tie-downs in 4 locations on the main deck. We have 26 bicycle racks on the stern of the vessel that's accessed through its own stern boarding area. And this is an increase from 18 bikes on the current vessel. You'll also see 6 video monitors spaced throughout the passenger cabin, and you'll see displayed on there a new passenger safety video announcement. I know that once you board this vessel, the MV Sally Fox, you'll be impressed by the quality, the fit and finish, and I encourage everyone here today to take a ride on her. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Paul. Now, back in 2008, the Vashon Water Island Community Club passed a resolution recommending that if a new boat was ever acquired, it had a perfect name. When the Ferry District actually set out to name this vessel last year, another public process was devised and conducted, and that process once again produced a name synonymous with island activism and island spirit. Sally Fox was an islander who fought for a number of important community and civil rights causes, including the preservation of passenger-only service between Vashon and downtown Seattle. She kept foot ferry service afloat, even as the Great Recession jeopardized funding for such services. But unfortunately, in 2007, Sally passed away far, far too early. But as reflected in the obituary she wrote herself, she considered herself one of the luckiest people in the world. Today, we are lucky and so very fortunate to be able to honor her life once again. In a moment, we will dedicate the newest edition of our water taxi fleet, the MV Sally Fox. Another applause for that. All right. So now, I'd like to introduce retired King County Superior Court Judge Michael Fox. Michael and Sally were married for 33 years until she passed away. Michael.
Well, Sally would have loved to be here at this celebration. She loved parties, especially when they were put together to celebrate a victory. And this celebration today is a victory. It's a celebration of victories for Vashon and Water Island, for downtown Seattle, for the environment, for the marine trades, for parents who will spend more time with their families, and for all of you who will ride this beautiful boat for years to come. Some of you may not know how close we came to losing this passenger service. After the car tab initiative passed in 2000, the state ferry system lost the funding that had allowed the creation of what came to be known as the PO boat or the foot ferry. The state announced that it would cease passenger ferry operations to downtown Seattle, both from Vashon and Bremerton. Sally Fox, and what I always called her band of merry pranksters, swung into action and began a 7-year organizing effort to save this service. And it wasn't an easy fight. Vashon Maury commuters, Southworth commuters, real estate industry leaders, the Vashon business community, the maritime unions, the State Department of Transportation, state legislators, the county council, and all of us taxpayers all perceived somewhat different self-interests. At times, finger-pointing, suspicions, and some animosity emerged among these different interest groups. Now, what Sally really did was to get all of these groups to recognize that all of these stakeholders had legitimate concerns that had to be recognized, understood, and considered if the foot ferry was to survive. By July 2004, progress was well underway, and the groups were talking and actually listening to one another. A solution involving King County taking over the foot ferry service as part of its regional transportation plan was then in sight. Sally was diagnosed with terminal cancer in November of that same year. She struggled to go back to work with the city and to keep leading the effort to save the foot ferry, but her treatment so weakened her that she simply could not do it. All of the others, Mike Suddeth, Rob Bordner, Chuck Knutson, Rex Stratton, Dean Katz, Michelle Moreland, and many others kept up the fight, and the result is what you see here today. Sally Lou Willinger was born in Barranquilla, Colombia, and lived in Bogota until she was 9. She grew up with other Yankees in Bogota, and 2 of her closest friends from that time, her honorary brother and sister, Carolyn Thomas Vale and Stuart Thomas, are here today with us from Virginia. Thank you all, Stuart and Carolyn, for all you meant to Sally and for being here today. Our niece, Casey Woodsell, right here, taking some photographs, is also here from Scottsville, Virginia today to celebrate her beloved aunt. I'd like to tell the story that Mike Sudduth told at Sally's memorial service in 2007 as an example of some of the ingenious organizing tactics that Sally inspired. The morning commute was always a bit of a frantic struggle for those commuters who would ride the car ferry from Southworth and then have to get off and run over here to get seats on the passenger ferry to get into downtown Seattle. And when they would arrive, they'd be winded, tuckered out, and perhaps a little resentful of all of the folks from Vashon who were already comfortably seated on the boat. So one day, and everybody wasn't on the same page about this service. And they were coming from a different county. And so there were problems in communication between the Southworth and the Vashon commuters. So one time, this committee that Sally was the head of, they organized Southworth Appreciation Day. And some of you who are here remember participating in that. And what happened is they persuaded all of the Vashon customers to not get on the boat, but instead to form a gauntlet of applauding, cheering, sign-waving, smiling commuters who stayed off the boat, and then the bewildered Southworth passengers came through and saw they didn't have to run. And people started to talk about how they had things in common, and the atmosphere was always much better after that. So the next morning, what did the Southworth commuters do? Well, you know, Vashon has a reputation as kind of the home of the hippies in King County. So what the commuters from Vashon did, from Southworth did, is they brought with them a big load of granola bars. And they came on the boat and passed them all out to the folks in Vashon. And things were, they were of one mind after that. Much more could be said about what Sally did, but I hope you'll understand why the Vashon-Maury Island Community Council passed a resolution in 2008 recommending that the county name the first county-owned passenger ferry the Sally Fox. Now, I think we have an easel. I'm going to ask our daughter, Kelly Fox Violet, and to come up, and we will now unveil a plaque that will be permanently mounted on the ferry commemorating the naming of the boat. Let me read this to you. It says, MV Sally Fox, and then it says, Sally Willinger Fox was a passionate advocate for the preservation of passenger ferry service between Vashon Island and downtown Seattle. She understood that passenger-only service enhances islanders' family lives, protects the environment, reduces congestion, and contributes to the health, vibrancy, and fun of Vashon and Maury Islands. As a public servant for the city of Seattle, she relished her relaxed ferry commutes with old and new friends. She led islanders in bringing together state and local government leaders, the maritime unions, and the business community to talk, listen, and cooperate with one another to save the foot ferry. Sally passed away in 2007, but her undying spirit lives on in the hearts of her family and friends and in this vessel. Thank you, everybody. We will, we're going to now take, Harold, why don't you conclude?
Woo! That is super, super nice. Thank you very much, Michael, for that. So now for the moment we have all been waiting for. The naming of this vessel will be forever named after Sally Fox. I'd like to ask, I think they're moving to position here. Paul is leading, Council Member McDermott, County Executive Constantine, FTA Administrator Rick Corchalis, and Sally's daughter, Kelly Fox Violet, to help officially dedicate this boat.